Hey, everybody. So we are live and we will wait exactly till 5 o'clock, which it actually is. So we'll wait a few more seconds for people to pop on. And in that space, we will just introduce ourselves. I am Emily Elrod. I have a background in physiology and I'm a nerd about how the body works. And Annalise, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Annalise. I'm a dietitian. I've been a dietitian for about 3 years now. So nutrition is my bread and butter. So I love that.
Okay. And so today we are going to be specifically talking about meal prepping ideas. So this came from last time we had to ask the coaches. Somebody asked us about meal prepping. So we decided to do a full session on it. So I guess let's just take it away, Annalise. And what are your thoughts about meal prepping and what advice could you give to some people?
So I guess like starting off, like I myself, we meal prep all the time because it's hard to, take the time out of the day to cook for 30 minutes to an hour every single day for dinner. And then you've still got breakfast and lunch. So for me, it helps me to have like a healthy option on standby, like ready to go, have it in the fridge, like ready to go, like for breakfast specifically. That saves me so much time in the morning. It's just you grab it and you run out the door, or you've already got it packed in your lunchbox. Normally I'm eating breakfast at work, so that's what I typically do. But I mean, you can make it so simple because, like, for breakfast, you can always do like a little egg bake or like baked oatmeal, which is my favorite. And, having your lunch and everything just ready to go. It just saves you so much time and money, too. And making sure that you're prepping the foods that you actually will eat. Don't go on Pinterest and find something that just, it's like your least favorite vegetable and your least favorite whatever. Like, stuff you actually like, make it fun. Do try some new stuff, but it's such a big time saver, and it just helps to have those healthy options.
And I think the biggest thing that you're talking about too is the planning. The aspect of it is if you fail to plan to fail, on it. And we don't want anybody to fail at all. And so that's the reason why I guess we have such a heart for this is to help people succeed. Nathan, I see that you say hello. It's me again. Hello, Nathan. I guess the thing I have actually a few questions that have come in, and if anybody's on here have any questions, just pop them up. So I am going to bring up questions that came from our people in LiveWise. First question is, what are the best foods to prep?
Whatever you like to eat. That's a very broad question. So, which is a good thing, prep what you like. Although I have seen some really funny memes of people that are like meal prepping and it's like a candy bar and a piece of pizza. I'm like, that doesn't count. It's funny, but it doesn't count. So honestly, you want to just pick, some lean proteins, some starch, and some lean, some non-starchy vegetables. You want a little bit of fat, protein, and carb. You want a little bit of balance. You want a little bit of whatever you're actually going to eat. I would say there aren't really any foods that are necessarily off limits to prep, just whatever you like.
Exactly. And I say my past week, we had fish, and I absolutely loved it. And we actually, since we ate it that day, I guess we called it leftovers, but we had so many leftovers that we make whenever we do cook that we save it for 2 to 3 days afterwards. And so that was one question that somebody had is, whenever you prep, should it be for 3 days, 5, 7 days? Like how often should they prep, and also being sanitary and safe with their foods as well?
I mean, I would say you would probably be good with 5 days, kind of that middle mark. Like, I know a lot of people, they like to prep on Sunday, and then that way their Monday through Fridays are all ready to go, So I think that would be good. Now, granted, that's, for the people who just work, Monday through Friday, the 9 to 5 kind of thing. I know some of us work on the weekend and, it's a little bit different, but just finding one day, whatever day works best for you, and doing, I would say, about 5 days would be good. Or, maybe your schedule's staggered. Everyone's different, If you don't get 2 days off back to back, maybe you work a day and you have a day off and then you work 4 days, just finding a little bit of time, like when you cook, make extra, set it aside, store it in individual containers. I even know people who prep and they put it in the freezer, like little individual portions. They just prep it and then they seal it off and they put it in the freezer and they can just pop it out like a little freezer meal and microwave it. I mean, hey, if that's your thing, go for it. But yeah, I would say 5 would be fine.
So here's a question from Nathan is, could you prep salads for the time period?
Actually, it's kind of funny that he asks that. So someone asked me about cucumbers like a while back. They were like, well, is there any like magical way to keep my cucumbers crisp and from getting soggy? I don't know yet. I haven't found a way. Typically, like I make the joke, if I put cucumbers in like a pasta salad, I make sure all the cucumbers get out that first day because they always get soggy and gross. And same thing with lettuce. Lettuce can be a little bit sketchy because sometimes the ends get brown and
once water hits it. So water does have it with lettuce and some of the to start breaking down the process. It's also with like green beans and some other asparagus. There is a time period for it. I will say for me, I meal prep, but how I do it is I put a paper towel to take in the moisture.
Oh yeah, good idea.
And then put my tomatoes, and I hate cucumbers, so they're not touching anything. I know.
My heart.
So they're not touching anything. But also, I love goat cheese. Like I have an absolute, I love goat cheese.
Yes.
Blame Carly, one of my girlfriends. She introduced it to me, and I was like, there's no way I'm touching this stuff. It actually smells disgusting. And it is the best thing ever. And so there's some things that you can actually prep with the salad. So what I'd suggest on that is putting the salad to the side, putting a paper towel or something over it. And then chickpeas are great. If you have, I love avocado, lemon juice on top of an avocado will keep it from ripening. Tomatoes to the side. You just got to think if it creates juices, it's more likely to then, or if it has a lot of water in it too, it's more likely to rot in a time period. But that's what we want you to eat is things that actually rot. That's a part of it. So, and that it has to be prepped because it does not have the preservatives in it for it to last all. So that's kind of the goal of that one. But great question, Nathan. Very great. Anybody else, if you have questions, definitely send them towards us. And I guess this one's kind of that goes with it. What are the best foods to prep? So we know that lettuce can be something. But spaghetti. You made something that was awesome with edamame noodles, wasn't it? Or
yeah. So it was like, well, it was the chickpea pasta.
Yes.
And I mean, when I make pasta salad, I am so like just boring, but I love it. So typically when I make pasta, I'll just heat up some olive oil with fresh garlic and crushed red pepper. I love that. It's so simple, but it is so good. Or like pasta salad, like I made a Greek pasta salad, and honestly, the dressing was just red wine vinegar and dried basil. And then you just throw in the feta cheese, a little bit of veggies, a little bit of chicken that I had left over. Like, I always tell people, my meal prep and what I'm cooking is so motivated by what I had in the kitchen that I really need to use up before it goes bad. So I use that as my base, and then I plan whatever it is that I'm making off of what needs to get out soon.
And I think that's funny too, because I blame my college days for that, because it's like I call it the everything but the chicken or the kitchen sink recipes. And I think that's something big too, that on meal prepping or just recipes in general, that we get so, I drive some people crazy and mad because I substitute everything. Like I don't follow recipes, and that just, me and my grandmother, we have a discussion on that every time. And she's like, you don't? I'm like, no, like, So being a little, you can ad lib it with it a good bit. But, like you did with the chickpea pasta. That's a great way, and it has additional nutrients better than just your regular pasta. So that, and I don't know about you, but I'm actually not a huge fan of spaghetti, but I hear, I know cucumbers.
Cucumbers and spaghetti. No.
What's wrong with me? Like, I need to tell you all the things I don't eat live, like not on live, I guess. Cantaloupe. That's the other one. Sorry, y'all. Cantaloupe. Can't do that one. But that's about it. But all that to say is that there are foods that actually even taste better the next day. And spaghetti is one that time and time again that people talk about. Chili.
Yes.
See, chili. That's another one that is even better the next day. So I hear some people say that they don't eat leftovers. How can we convince them that leftovers are God's gift to the universe?
I don't know. I've run into quite a few people that are like, leftovers? Heck no. Like, I'd rather just throw it away. And I'm like, what? No.
Yeah. So it's hard for me because it's for me to be frugal. I'm probably one of the most frugal people you'll ever meet. I just am. And so it's a way for me. I can't stand wasting money. And I feel like that's in essence when I'm throwing away food, I'm wasting money.
Yeah.
So what I would encourage on that part is that leftovers, one, usually taste better the second day. And they're a way for you to save money. That's what I love about it. And they're quick. Like, seriously, you have a leftover, you pop it in a microwave, and you have it in 30 seconds. Or you can go to some fast food joint, or you can go out to eat. Which one would you rather choose? For me, I like one, saving the money, saving the time. Because a lot of people say that it takes a lot of time to eat healthy, or costs a lot of money to eat healthy. And I mean, we've talked about this. We'll argue that one.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't spend that much on groceries, in my opinion. I don't. But it's because I'm using everything that I'm buying. I'm not letting anything go to waste. That's what I do.
I agree. So here is Mandy. Actually, she actually is awesome and does some stuff with us as well. But she recommended cabbage, kale, and those tougher salad bases to help. That is with the salad question that we had from Nathan earlier. That is very true. So it's more rugged, I guess you would say. But like she said, they're tougher salad bases that will last.
And you could just kind of make like different variations of coleslaw, like that Cajun coleslaw that I made, which was so good. It didn't last very long, but yeah, like that would be great. And then I would say too, like my other little thing on that, like if you make it kind of like the lettuce, like if you have the cabbage and the coleslaw like mix, or if you want to do it yourself, I normally do it myself, put it on one side and then separate the actual sauce. Cause mine tends to get a little bit runny if I let it just sit there. So, having a little separate container for it and then drizzle it on there, it works for me. But yeah, I love that. Cabbage, kale, those heartier leafy greens. So yeah.
And Nathan put, generally, do you prep just for the work week? Like chili, spaghetti is better leftover. Yes, they are. But yes, for me, I Sundays. Like we do Sundays, and because we cook a whole lot, and I will say that we have our own meat, so we have our own cows, and typically with that, they're in larger portion sizes. So we actually do a lot of steak, and because whenever you do have the steaks, they're actually massive. They're about the whole size of a pan.
Oh my gosh!
And so there's 4 of us, and the thing is for meat. Look at your palm. The size of your palm is your portion size of the meat that you're supposed to be having each meal. So that is just something that I need this and not the whole plate, I guess that's one of the other questions that can come with it is the portion sizes. But first, Annalise, what would you say to this question is, do you prep just for the work week?
I mean, personally, yeah, like I do meal prep for like my husband and I for the work week. Because like on the weekends, you just never know if we're going out, if we're going and doing something fun, going to the beach, you never know. So typically I'm a Monday through Friday kind of prepper, and it's easy, especially for the both of us whenever we get up and go to work. We pack our lunches the night before, we've got it, and it's just quick and you go, and he's easy to please, I'm easy to please. So it works out great. But again, we're all different. So if prepping for Monday through Friday, I don't know. I can eat the same thing every single day.
Mhm.
I know some people can't. So, whether you do smaller preps, like maybe twice a week, or if you just throw more variety in when you're prepping on Sunday, it kind of depends. You got to play with it a little bit.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't prep for the weekend, just me personally. But we do a lot of cookouts too. And I
Mhm.
often tend to kind of double dip. I have my social time doing a cookout, but I make so much food that I have my
Mhm.
prep done at the same time. And it just kind of like works out for me.
Mhm.
But yeah.
And that's the thing, is like what I always say is anytime you have those cookouts or those people over, there's usually leftovers.
Oh, yeah.
And so I joke that one of my aunts, she is always known for cooking, but when she cooks for like 10, it's more like cooking for 100. And she always has so many leftovers. And it's just like, okay, let's freeze that. Let's save that. And that's the thing, like if you freeze stuff, they even last longer than if you just refrigerate it. So I love chicken. For any of my meats, I like to freeze that. You do have to be careful whenever you reheat it back up,
Right.
but and making sure that you do fully heat it back up to the right temperature. But still, they're so good, and they have so many additional money saving benefits, I would say, for it. So they still taste great. Then you also, and I think the biggest thing that I guess that we also talk a lot about is spice it up.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have, and it's getting creative. As many of y'all know, I never cooked like until I was married. And what I didn't know is that I thought everything was bland, just based like a chicken, and then you couldn't really do anything with it. But I love science. So being a science nerd, I made it into chemistry projects for me and trying to figure out like the spices. So how you can turn chicken into Mexican, into Oriental. You can do it so many different ways. And so that also in the end can save a good bit of money.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see what this next question. Where can I find the Cajun coleslaw recipe?
I'll hook you up.
We'll put it on here.
Yeah.
What I will do too is throughout the month of March, we are in March, so it is Nutrition Month. We will actually be putting out a lot of recipes that the coaches have done. Coach Annalise is amazing with not only her photography of her food that makes you want to eat it every time, but
shout out to the Google Pixel.
Yes, shout out. If anybody has a Google Pixel, that is the best camera. We're just going to throw that in there. Google, you can sponsor us next event, right?
Yes.
And then we will also be at the end of the month. The goal is to put out a cookbook for y'all that I have been working on for a long time that I'm very proud of. And we're going to put some of these recipes in here that the coaches have done as well. So put that one in there. And then, Nathan, I know it's such a sad day. Yeah, meat really is supposed to be like your hand is a great measure for a lot of things. So it's the thumbs an ounce, and your
like 4 ounces, 3 to 4 ish.
Yeah. And so your palm is really what you're supposed to have. So, and because we're not supposed to have those gigantic plates that we typically have, we're supposed to have
the smaller plates. Our plates are getting bigger as the years go on.
Yeah. So I actually have a great, if I can find it, I will put it out there too. It's a great just clip or graphic on how our food has grown in size. It's really neat. So great questions. Y'all keep bringing them in.
Yeah.
So next one is, do I need to prep all 3 meals or just start with one? This is a great question.
Yeah, that is a really good question. Again, it's very individual.
Oh, did I lose you? I think we lost Annalise for a second. So with this, like she said, it is very individualized and what would be the best for each person. So for you, do you need to prep all 3 meals or just start with one? Do what works best for you. For me, I have a breakfast that I eat the same thing every day. That's just because that's what's natural for me. But I also have ways that are best for lunch. My husband, he eats peanut butter and jelly every day. He eats the same thing every day. And peanut butter jelly is actually not something that's too horrible. It fills in and it works for him. So sorry for the technical difficulty on this. So we'll continue with it though. Again, if you have any questions, pop them over. But a lot of people do overnight oats. If anybody's on here that has done it, what is your favorite overnight oats recipe that you've ever had? And what are some ways that you could possibly do breakfast or just lunch? Just think of one meal. We can start off easy and start off small. So, and then finally, what is easiest one to start prepping? I would argue that it is the breakfast meal. That would be my suggestion. But let us know, again, comments. What would be yours? And then I know Coach Annalise, she had some technical difficulties, so she popped off. But she did leave us with this amazing link. We will put it here. But it is for some great meal prep tips that she has and that she's put on that will help you. And I'll put it in the comment section as well. So, again, if anybody has any questions, just let us know. So, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to the comment section and give you about 5 minutes or less and see if we have any comments or any suggestions. Maybe in that time, Annalise Mike can pop back on. And then also just let us know if you have meal prepped in the past. What did you typically do? What was your go-tos for it? Anybody on there? So my question is if there's any meal prepping ideas, what is typically your favorite? What is your go-to for it? For us, I like to do a lot of, like I said, meat, like I talked about earlier. Meat's kind of like my go-to thing to prep because it can take more time. And then I'll save it for the other days. And because typically my vegetables, I like to eat them either raw. And so, okay. Do I really need 3 meals a day or more smaller meals? Okay, so I wish Coach Annalise is on here, and I know Coach Rachel is amazing and answer this as well. But typically our response back to this is the best thing for you is whatever your body is telling you. So the 3 meals is kind of based off of our work schedule and how that kind of came out. There we go.
Sorry, my internet went out. I am so sorry.
You're totally fine. Hey, we have life together. What is that? Hot. We're humble, open, and transparent. Things don't always go perfect.
In there, I was like, my internet went down. I was in the middle of a live.
Okay. You're fine. So we will give the example of that is what is called a cortisol release. And whenever you're stressed and your heart rate goes up. But we're going to give grace and give you, hey, you're amazing. You do what you do. Nathan said, you're back. Yes, she is. So, as I was saying, I was like, you're amazing at answering this question. And it is, do I really need 3 meals a day or more smaller meals? And what I was talking about is that to listen to your body. Mm-hmm. And that our work week and kind of our environment has kind of played in on setting those 3 meals because it's more favorable. It's whenever we got spaces and breaks to be able to eat. That has allowed us to be able to kind of go to the 3 meal diet. But what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I don't have I don't have set eating times. I don't have set meals. It depends. Sometimes I wake up I'll wake up in the morning and I am just absolutely starving at 5 a.m. And then there are days where I'm not hungry until 9, and so I just listen to my body and I eat whenever, I feel comfortable. I always have snacks on hand though. I constantly have snacks around. So, if I do get really hungry before I can get to like a full meal, I have something there to kind of hold me over. That's what I typically do. So you kind of have to do whatever makes you happy, whatever feels right to you. Just listen to your body. If you're a 3-meal kind of person, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a 6-meal kind of person, nothing wrong with that.
I have a sister-in-law, and she's like, my twin always wants her to sit down and eat supper together, and she's like, I'm just not hungry. But the thing is her lunchtime, she eats big lunches, and that's just and so they've come to it where she's not exactly eating the same amount, but she is still spending time with the family.
Yeah.
But the meal doesn't have to be that huge. So if you're not hungry, don't eat.
Right.
It's kind of the basics of it, and don't let your environment kind of tell you when and when not to eat. Let your stomach and yourself actually be able to tell it and determine it.
Yeah.
So while training, I always prepped lunch. That's a great idea, a great thing too. And that is, I guess, to add on that, whenever you start exercising, whenever you start burning more calories, there are typically whenever you do also want to start consuming more. And so again, listen to your body on that and making sure that you are feeding it correctly. And that's the one thing that we talk about is dealing with stress. Is also another thing. I talked to this wonderful lady at church this morning. She is actually going to be 90 on the same day that it's my daughter's birthday. And she was talking that her grandson, I want to say it's her grandson, is working in a very difficult field that has to deal with death a lot. So they're it's like a hospice chaplain size service. And she was talking about how he's gained some weight. And in that process of gaining weight, the stress, she goes, I think it's just stress. And it can be. And so that's the thing is, for me, I am a stress eater, and making sure that stress does not make me want to eat more. So that's the only thing is what I'm saying is to know your environment, make sure that you're not stress eating. You can listen to your body, and what it's really saying is you're actually stressed out. You need to deal with that instead of going to a comfort food.
Right.
That will appease that. So any more questions that we have about meal prepping or just food in general? Anything that you guys would like to ask? And I did show them your link and told them.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love that link. That's a really, really good website, just for like tips and stuff.
So that is one suggestion we have. And then also, as always, if you ever feel like reaching out to Coach Annalise, you can have it. It's free to have just a get to know you with her. And we actually are coming up on our 1 year for WorkSpeak, which I'm really excited about. And so with that, we'll be we'll be giving away a lot of freebies coming soon. So definitely stay tuned. So I'm not seeing any more comments. So with that, I just want to say thank you all for attending. And I guess let's talk about, before we leave, let's talk about takeaways. What are 3 takeaways that you could give people about meal?
About meal prep? Well, 1, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be expensive. Make sure that you're picking foods that you actually like, and make sure that it's balanced. Have protein, fat, and carb, plenty of veggies, fresh fruit, all that good stuff. Just try to keep it balanced and take your time with it. Don't feel like you have to meal prep for, your whole family for every meal right off the get-go. Take your time, get comfortable, and make sure you feel confident when you're doing it.
I agree.
I'll see if I can get you some of my favorite meal prepping recipes. Maybe we can get those together, because there are a few staples that I have that, I have on repeat constantly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I guess my 3 would be is kind of going with the same thing. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it with the meal prep. If it starts to get the state of overwhelm, as we would like to say, back off. Just focus on one day, if that's it.
Yeah.
That's all that you can do is just do one day. The second one is to have self-compassion, not self-comparison. So in the space of learning new things, I really want to encourage you, especially with meal prepping, if this is your first time, if it's not going perfect for somebody else, or you're starting to compare yourself, there'll be a lot of failure with that. And then my final one is to reach out for help. There's great resources. Google's amazing, And I hope that we have some recipes that y'all can use, and we will put some of those on here as well. So with that, we appreciate you, and we thank you for your time, and have an awesome and blessed day. And she froze again. So I'm going to say have an awesome, blessed day for her too, because I know she would say that. Bye.